Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Surgical Snipes, and I am back at it again with another Diablo Immortal video. Alright, in this video, it's going to be part 2 of my ultimate wizard guide. In my first part, in part 1, I was speaking a lot about the farming build, my farming build, and the meta farming builds that you should be running as a wizard. Here in part 2, I'm going to be discussing more the PvP builds, the battleground builds. Alright, so let's get right into it. But first I need to clarify. I made a mistake on my farming build for wizards. I believe in my previous video I said that that teleport isn't good for farming, and complete mistake on my part. You want to run teleport in your meta builds for your farming, you know, because when you teleport, you're moving fast, and the point of farming is to farm the monsters really fast. So my mistake. Teleport is one of the skills that you're supposed to be running in the meta builds for wizards. So when you're farming, so just a heads up. As a matter of fact, let's just review that real quick of what the OP meta builds are for farming real quick before I dive into the PvP builds. That way we can get the farming out of the way for anyone, for the farming builds out of the way for anyone who maybe didn't see part 1. But I definitely recommend checking out part 1 to get up to date for more detailed farming build explanations. But yeah, very quickly, I'm going to explain the legendary items that you want to run in your OP farming builds. I believe this is the meta. There could be something better than this, but this is what I think is the meta right now for farming builds as a wizard. Okay, so first you're going to go with the Helms, right? You're going to want to go with Memory of Xiaoyu. Memory of Xiaoyu, it gives you flaming orbs. Scorch now conjures 4 flaming orbs that orbit around you and explode when they strike enemies, damaging and burning all nearby enemies. So, Memory of Xiaoyu is by far the greatest helm for farming. It's the best one. Number 1 helm. Just pick Memory of Xiaoyu if you have it, and you can't go wrong. I wish I had it so I could show you, but I don't have it, so I can't show you. I can't show you all what it does. I'm sure you all know what it does though. Anyways, I'm explaining this really quickly because I gotta explain the PvP builds in this part 2 of this video. Because at the end of my last video, I wanted to explain the PvP combos using the ice crystal, and my freaking stream just freaking froze on me and it lagged me out of the thing. So that shit's all bad. So hopefully that won't happen again, and this video will go through. That's why I got to get this done quick. So I explained the helm. Now let's talk about the shoulders. The shoulder you want to run is Searing Judgment. Searing Judgment, it gives you Fiery Beam. It turns your Disintegrate purple beam into an orange fire beam, and it channels fire, burning enemies for additional damage over time. So you always want to go with the fire abilities, the fire legendaries when you're farming, and also for PvP also, because the fiery Disintegrate, the fiery beam is better. The fire beam is better than the purple beam because it does more damage. So keep that in mind. Searing Judgment is the best shoulders for any build that you're running, pretty much, if you want to maximize your damage as a wizard. Okay, so we got the Searing Judgment. I'm not gonna go over all of them because this isn't a detailed farming build. I'm just gonna be picking my favorite ones for farming. So next one, you're not gonna want to use Frost Reaver's garments. Frost Reaver's garments, that's for PvP. What you want to use is Elora's Fervor. Elora's Fervor, it says here, Lightning Nova now hurls balls of burning fire. So again, it's another fire legendary It's another fire legendary ability that's added to your Lightning Nova. Now becomes Fire Nova, and it hurls balls of burning fire. So you definitely want to go with Alora's Fervor for your farming build. And that's it for the chest plates. Okay, now for the pants, you're gonna want to go with either Chaos Nexus, or you could go with Cavil's Grand Revelation. Most people would go with Chaos Nexus, but I think that Cavil's Grand Revelation is extremely good as well for farming, because it says here, enemies killed by Disintegrate will explode, dealing 1080 damage to all nearby enemies. So this, I believe this gives you more of a chance to deal more damage, because when you kill the enemies, like when you have a mob of enemies and you kill them, then the Cavil's Grand Revelation will make them explode also to the enemies near them. So you might potentially be killing the other enemies already without even hurting them, you know. So don't sleep on Cavil's Grand Revelation. Most people would go with the Chaos Nexus for the 3 additional beams with the Ice Crystal and all that, or the Disintegrate. But I think Cavil's Grand Revelation is actually better for farming. Okay, now for your main hand weapon, you're gonna want to go with either the Electro Spike. Electrocute leaps to 3 additional enemies, so your Electrocute's is gonna be even more crazier. You know, you're gonna be able to hit more enemies. And it's about speed and farming. So this is actually Electrocute, I believe, is better than Magic Missile if you want to speed farm. So if you want to speed farm, switch your primary attack to Electrocute and run a Electro Spike on your main hand weapon. Okay, and then your offhand weapon, the only one you should be running is the Siphon. The Siphon will, it says here, casting Lightning Nova temporarily increases your movement speed by 60%. Alright, and is there anything else that you could use? Maybe, but for the most part, you want to go with speed. So the Siphon is going to be your go-to offhand weapon. Alright, and that's going to be a quick rundown on the farming legendary items that you should be running. Oh, and for the skills, I forgot about the skills. The skills, you're going to want to run Lightning Nova. You want to run Lightning Nova with the what's it called? The what's that legendary? That Elora's Fervor. Yeah, you want to run Lightning Nova because Elora's Fervor, the chest plate Elora's Fervor will turn into Fire Nova. And it'll make your Lightning Nova turn into fire, and it's actually it does more damage than just the lightning. So definitely want to go with Lightning Nova as your first skill here in the skill wheel. Actually, not your first skill. You want to go with actually Teleport. Teleport is actually the one that you want to put first. Let me switch the slots here real quick and I'll explain it. So you want to run your skill wheel from bottom to top. The first being the first one being in the bottom, second on top, third above that, and fourth last. That way you're just pushing all the buttons in order. You don't want to have everything all mixed and matched. You don't want to put like 3 in front of 1 and the 4th one in front of 2 because of the second skill, because you want to just make it easy. You just want to push one button after the other. It should be a no-brainer. Like you shouldn't even be thinking about it. So yeah, we got Teleport as the first one. Teleport, like I mentioned before, Teleport, you want to speed run through all this shit. Like you want to speed farm. So Teleport is your go-to a skill for going with speed. So after that, then you hit the Lightning Nova. So again here, you would Teleport, Lightning Nova, but I don't have Elora's Fervor equipped, so I'm gonna equip that real quick, just so I can show you all. That way you guys know what I'm talking about here. I wish I could show you all the legendary items and be able to show the meta build, but after a week of farming legendary items, I couldn't get all the necessary legendary items needed in order to make the meta build. So I tried, I tried for a whole week. I was farming, and I just couldn't get it. So, and I'm gonna be class changing to Demon Hunter pretty soon. So, at least I can explain this to all the wizard players out there. So let me first put the other skill that you're supposed to have. You want to be running Disintegrate. You want to run Disintegrate, but you want to switch it there. Alright, so anyways, you'd want to use Teleport. Let's say there's a mob of monsters right there. Teleport. Fire Nova. You see how the it's not lighting no more. Now it's fireball shooting out. So this is perfect for damage. And then this one here, this is the Scorch, but I don't have the correct legendary to show you all. But this is where that one helm I was telling you about, the Memory of Xiao Yu. If I had the Memory of Xiao Yu helm equipped, then this Scorch, there would be actually 4 or 5 fire orbs circling around me, and they'll hit anything. As soon as it touches the enemy, it's gonna deal a lot of damage to them. So, wish I could show you what that looks like, but if you go to another wizard build video, I'm sure you can see it if you haven't seen it yet. And that requires the Memory of Xiao Yu, helm. All right, so from there, actually with that you might want to actually switch the order right there. That way, as soon as you get to the enemies, you teleport to them. You would activate the Scorch with the 4 or 5 flame balls, and then after all that, then you would use this to reset out of the enemy's ways and finish them off with a Disintegrate beam, but a fiery beam, not this purple one. You need the Searing Judgment. You need the Searing Judgment shoulders to make the fiery beam. So keep that in mind. And that's gonna be the ultimate farming build. If you can get all legendary items, that's what you would want to do. You teleport to the enemies, Scorch, Fire Nova, reset, and then you're gonna be finishing them off with a fiery beam. Alright, so that's a quick rundown on the open world farming build that I believe is the most OP meta build for speed farming. Alright, so now we covered that. Now let's cover let's get to the PvP real quick. Let me change the skills real quick. PvP, well, let's talk about PvP, right? Pretty much the reason why Wizard is considered the most broken class in the game is because of this combo here. Is because everybody is using this skill, which is called the Ice Crystal. The Ice Crystal is a giant ice crystal that you will put on a nearby location. It says, conjure a giant ice crystal at a nearby location where it will deal 12.9k damage to all nearby enemies over 12 seconds and inflict 30% chill. When the crystal expires, it will shatter for 6.1k damage to all nearby enemies and inflict 80% chill for 6 seconds. Activate again to shatter the crystal immediately. Beams of energy striking the crystal will be refracted and strike multiple targets for reduced damage. And for that reason, for the description of that, what I just said right there, that is the reason why the Wizard class is the most broken class in the game. Now, I'm a Demon Hunter first, right? I love dealing damage and all that. But if you got a freaking high resonance Wizard on the enemy team that knows what they're doing, it's really difficult to stop that. I wouldn't be able to get close to them if they know what they're doing, because they just keep me at distance with the ice crystal. So I'm going to equip the ice crystal right now. Okay, there goes the ice crystal. And then the next thing you're going to want to run, you have two options. You can either run the black hole. This is the more of the general build for PvP. Teleport, and then you're going to have black hole, followed by either a disintegrate or a ray of frost. So you can equip either ray of frost or disintegrate. If you're looking to do more damage, it's two different beams. Okay, the ray of frost is going to give you that chilling effect with the right chest plate called Waking Invocation. You're going to chill the enemies and make them frozen, which pretty much they're pretty much dead after that, because they're stuck there, they're CC'd, they can't move, they're frozen. So people like to use this to freeze the enemies, but if you want to deal more damage, then you're going to want to go, if you want to skip all that shit, then you're going to just go with Disintegrate. Okay, Disintegrate's just going to freaking you're going to one-shot them pretty much with Disintegrate. If you have a high res, if you're a high res wizard, a high resonance wizard. But the good thing about this build is that you can play either it's good for offense and defense. It's a very balanced build. You have the CC from the black hole, and you have the range from the ice crystal. You would aim the fire beam, not this purple beam, but it'll be the fire beam, the orange fire beam, into the crystal, and it will just shit on everybody. You know, you'll be doing major damage. And again, the reason why the wizard class is the most broken class in the game is because of this reason alone. Because if I'm putting the crystal from range, all you gotta do is look at your map. You see the red dot there? You gotta time it right. And from right there, you can be hitting them. You can be hitting the enemy, and you're not even on their screen. So they're getting hit. They're already half shield, or 75% of their shield is already gone. Of their health is already gone. And it's really tough to beat that against a high resonance wizard. So if you couple that with the black hole, the black hole will just keep you there in place. Ice crystal, you're done. You're done. With the fire beam, you're done. Against a high resonance wizard, it's all over after that. You know, and then they can easily teleport to you, and they'll end it if they have to end it with their magic missile. Okay, so that's the go-to wizard build that most wizards run. But let's say you don't want to do the CC from the black hole, right? Let's say you don't want to run that. If you don't want to run that, then you're going to go and change your skill and make it into a double beam. So you would double beam that with the Ray of Frost. And now your build should look a little bit like this. But in order to do this correctly, you're going to have to put the right legendary. So let's go do that real quick. You got to run the chest plate called Waking Invocation. Waking Invocation is what you got to be running if you want to do the double beam build. I don't really recommend the double beam build too much. It's a great option as well, but the previous one I just showed you is, I believe, the better of the two builds, because that one you have CC, you have more CC. It's always good to have CC with the dark hole, with the black hole. So anyways, you're gonna want to run, where is it at? Waking Invocation. Waking Invocation says Ray of Frost now creates an illusion that channels a beam of frost in the targeted direction. So you want to run that. Shiver Sense Stare, because Ray of Frost now freeze enemies. Like I said before, if you're gonna run Ray of Frost, it's because you're gonna run Shiver Sense Stare. Shiver Sense Stare, because if you hit them directly, you're gonna be able to. After a couple of seconds, they're gonna freeze in place, and after that, they're pretty much done in the battleground. So you're gonna run Shiver Sense Stare, Waking Invocation. I don't have the shoulders. You're gonna want to get the Searing Judgment for your Fire Beam. Searing Judgment for your Fire Beam. And then I already equipped the Waking Invocation. For your pants, you're gonna want to go with the Chaos Nexus. Chaos Nexus is the go-to PvP pants for wizards, because your Disintegrate channels up to 3 additional beams at nearby enemies, so you can be taking out 3 different. You can take out 3 different enemies at the same time. You can get triple kills and shit. For your main hand weapon, you're gonna want to go with Entropic Edge. Entropic Edge or Entropic Edge, I don't know how you want to say it. Entropic Edge, because it gives your Disintegrate 10% more damage. You could run a Force of Harakas also to give your primary attack 20% more damage, increased by 20%, but that's only if you don't have the Entropic Edge. If you have the Entropic Edge, you want to make your Disintegrate beam as strong as possible to one shot, to pretty much finish the enemies off, to instantly just vaporize them, right? That's why the freaking skill is called Disintegrate, for crying out loud. Okay, but you gotta run the fire one, like I keep telling y'all. Don't run the purple one, run the fire one. If you're gonna run it, run the fire one. So Entropic Edge is gonna be your main hand weapon for the best build. And then Devouring Void, if you're running the Black Hole. If you're running the Black Hole build, you're gonna wanna use Devouring Void, because Devouring Void helps with your Black Hole. It says momentum. Black Hole moves forward a short distance, pulling in and damaging enemies as it travels. So this is your go-to offhand weapon if you're running Black Hole in your build. If you're not running Black Hole in your build, then none of these other offhands really are going to help you out at all. Keep that in mind. Like, there's literally no other freaking offhand weapon that's going to help you out if you're running the Black Hole build with the other skills that I just told you, that I just mentioned. So keep that in mind. They don't have that much stuff for PvP for wizards that at the highest level, at the top level competition, except Devouring Void. Okay, so those are the freaking legendary items. Those are the skills. But wait, there's actually one more build. There's one more super secret build that nobody knows about, and I'm about to tell y'all right now. This is the one-shot wizard build. Okay, the one-shot wizard build is a little bit different. Okay, this one I recommend only if you have a high resonance, like 3,000. Maybe you can get away with 1,500, 2,000 resonance, but lower resonance people shouldn't be doing this, because you're gonna get killed right away because this is pretty much diving into the enemy. Okay, so you want to dive into the enemy. So in order to do that, you're gonna want to have to